So, geometry, Fun Sock Friday, the 6th of March, 2020, SWBA. What's that stand for, Clyde? Students will be able to, that T is silent, identify and use properties of special right triangle.
I didn't even do it. I said I got a bet for you that you won't do it.
Actually, that's not right. We're going to simplify radicals, use the Pythagorean theorem as converse. We're continuing 7.1. I was wrong. What's up?
You want to do a cowboy mustache.
What do you consider a cowboy mustache?
Alright, shave all this, and their mustache is going to be all the way like down to here.
Oh, Fu Manchu?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Fu Manchu is my favorite is my favorite kind of facial hair, actually. I actually shaved down into one right before I shaved down to just a mustache for that one day. And I took a picture of it, and then it went.
Alright, yeah, show us the picture. Show us the picture. Show us the picture.
Wait, what? Are you talking about like the?
I don't like curls.
Are you talking about the handlebar mustache?
I'm talking about all the way down.
Yeah. Oh, like hanging or no?
That is a
Well, it doesn't have to be
handlebar.
hanging. Just all the way
Handlebar is the
down.
one that goes like that.
No. Handlebar is the one that curls.
No, handlebar is the one that goes down.
No, that's a Fu Manchu.
Yes, it is.
No, the
I
one that
promise
twists
you.
up is a handle.
Oh, make it bad.
Seriously, what do you want to bet on this one? Race C.
I don't care. I don't care enough.
I swear it was handlebar.
She said, "I'll take that out."
Yeah, I was like, I just don't care.
You want to bet?
I thought the Manchu one was the one that curled because it was like French.
It's actually
What does a handlebar mustache look like?
Well, don't say it before we can bet. I want to get to the
Handlebar
other.
is the curl.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying. That's what it's saying.
Making it bad.
Okay. So we went over simplifying radicals last time. Okay. So this is what we also done in the warm up. And we went through this, which was also on the warm up. We went through this, which wasn't on the warm up, but it was rationalized the denominator. So okay. So then we said a right triangle was a triangle with one right angle. We talked about the legs and the hypotenuse. We said the hypotenuse was across the right angle. The legs were touching that right angle. One way, please. Okay. Then we said we had this Pythagorean theorem. In a right triangle, if the legs have legs A and B, and the hypotenuse has legs C, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Then we said, okay, let's continue on. Let's try an example of this. So we tried an example of this. Then we said, okay, example 1. We found the length of the hypotenuse. We set it up. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A and B were either 5 or 12, and we didn't care about the order because they're both legs. We don't care about the order we add things in. So we added them together, and so that's equal to x squared. Now how do we get x by itself? Away from the squared, we have to undo the square by square rooting. So we square rooted both sides. And we got 13 to be x. And we said before, now typically when you square root both sides, you have a positive and negative. But we don't have to worry about the negative here because we can't have negative length. Okay? Just like if here to Bellevue is like 15 miles, 12 miles-ish, depending on where you're going to Bellevue. Okay? Going back is not going to be negative 12 miles. Okay? It's going to be positive 12 miles just the other direction. Okay? Then we continued on and we did example, we did Pythagorean triples, then we continued on and did example 2. For example 2, we said, hey, we had to find this, B, first which we called B, in order to find X over here. So we used this triangle, and Grace was like, hey, this is a Pythagorean triple. And so 6, 8, 10, 6, 8, 10, multiple 3, 4, 5. Otherwise we could have done the Pythagorean theorem to find it. On this 8, now you use the Pythagorean theorem. This right triangle, x was 4 square root of 13. By simplifying the radical, third off the square root of 208. Okay, that's square root of 16 times square root of 13. Square root of 16 is 4 times square root of 13. And that's what we did last time. Now this time. Example 3. If a tree breaks as shown. Tree, it broke as shown. What is the original height of the tree? Rounding your answer to the nearest 10. Okay? Well, if it's a tree with the ground, what kind of angle do we think it makes? Probably a right angle, probably 90-degree angle. Okay? I'd say most trees kind of make a right angle, right? Even not 100%, but I would say most trees, right? Okay?
How?
So, the ground?
Oh.
The stump.
Yeah.
Stop.
The stump.
Oh, there's
Some trees.
S-T-U-M-P.
Some trees.
It sounded like
Stump
stop
of
when you
the
said
tree.
that.
Okay. Okay. So, what are we given here in this right triangle?
2 numbers.
The 2 numbers. The legs! Fred the fish, my leg! Okay. What are we not given? Hypotenuse. How can we find our hypotenuse? A squared plus B squared equals
C squared.
C squared. So we can make this either a C or X. We don't care what we call it. We call it a smiley face. We call it a frowny face if we're sad that day. We can call it Rick and Morty socks. Okay? I like them.
Oh,
Okay?
Mr. Costello, did you get a green back Szechuan sauce from McDonald's?
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Morning.
Okay. It's a big thing for Rick and Morty.
Szechuan
What is
What's
that?
that?
It's a special
You
sauce from
don't want-
McDonald's that it got really popular because of Rick and Morty again.
Yeah.
What's up, baby? See that, baby?
I do. I
Okay.
never knew. Don't
Baby.
hit me. I'm McDonald's.
So, what would my A and B be here?
15.
15 squared plus Taylor Swift squared equals C squared or X squared that we're trying to
Taylor
find.
Swift
I'm
is like
already lost.
49 now.
Yeah, that's probably
She's
actually.
like 39.
Nah.
She's
No,
like
I got that
35.
right.
No! You're not even close.
She's still 35.
Y'all know Katy Perry's pregnant?
Katy
Oh
Perry.
yeah.
What?
By Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, Katy Perry's pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you were
Like,
meant
she's
Demi
showing
Lovato.
me
I was like, that's probably not.
Taylor Swift is 30.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get
me
that.
too.
I
She
don't
just
know.
turned 30. That's I was She's older than you. That's what's different.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I'm
Katy
pretty old,
Perry's
but she's
got some
older.
bangers.
30?
Yeah.
I'm old. Really
No, like how old are you? I guess she's like 24.
I'm like ancient.
You're 24.
Yeah, I'm like ancient.
He's younger than my sister.
It's the second funniest age.
Okay.
Okay.
Throw a massive rate on the track for you. Taylor Swift.
No, I should have, bro. Just like Blair 22 all the time. No, stop. That'd be any of the range. Just sit there in a chair and just Blair it. Anyway, 15 squared is.
225.
If you don't know what's the top right, can we type it into the calculator?
No.
No.
Duh. Totally could.
No, we
What's
can't.
22 squared?
44.
84.
Oh,
484.
my bad. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry.
I get a cry in Chicago.
What's 225 plus 484?
She's all by herself.
709.
I
8, 9,
just moved up. But also, did you get your hair cut? No, I just straightened it.
Now what do I do to get x by itself?
Two.
I like it either way.
Square root.
Square root. Square root of 709. Well, hey, wait. Do we have to do it to simplify the radical, or can we just go to the nearest 10?
What did your 9 look
It says nearest 10. So type this in the
I
calculator
did not realize.
and find what x is approximately to the nearest 10.
I don't have a
Calculator tell you that exact answer.
Yeah, if you type in square root of 709,
Can
I got a calculator.
No. My watch doesn't have square root on the calculator.
No one throw one.
Okay.
There's no freedom.
That's much better.
Oh, it's 20.
There's places that don't count.
It's 26 jump fast.
So it's like alien awkward.
Pulls it up.
I have it glitched
I don't think so. I can't read this.
What did you say?
What?
Racing!
That's what I literally just said.
Oh, then maybe. I said I can't read lips. So if x is 26.6,
Yeah, he just said that.
26.62.
Oh my god.
705,391.
10. Okay. So, now, what is this? Is that the original height of the tree, the 26.6?
No.
Whoa.
No.
Hold up. Hold
You
Yeah, hold the phone. Excuse me.
Adam. Grace.
I got. Oh, okay.
Soccer.
I hate it.
I swear.
What's going on here?
I'm holding up and holding the phone.
What happened here?
You're sore.
I had a major issue.
Okay, pretty simple.
Okay,
Trying to
I
do it
answer.
again. And then that's so
I
bad.
got Abraham Lincoln.
I want to
What
play.
to do? I just want to do second. That's it.
I just want to play soccer. I'm out.
Sam's wearing Rick and Morty.
Hey, here's how you do the square root in your calculator. On a scientific calculator, one of my calculators, what you do, you might even know this on a test, is if you look right above the x squared button that's next to the 7, what do you see in the little small print? The square root symbol, the radical. So hit the second button up in the top left, and hit the x squared button, and you get the square root
What
symbol.
does your mom
And you
look
type
like?
in 709. Then, and you push enter.
You didn't answer my question.
If you paid attention at the beginning of the year, you showed a picture of his parents.
Okay, well, guess what? I'm gonna be nice today. I'm being nice today. I'm being nice.
I'm being nice. I'm breathing.
No, you better stop. I'm being nice today.
I'm being nice today. I'm breathing.
Stop.
Practice what you preach.
I'm trying to be nice today. Please stop.
It's a good thing.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop.
I try to be nice.
You're gonna make me cry. I'm really trying to be nice because I've been really busy. I'm sorry, I had to remind myself of it.
So this is 26.6. What's my original height of the tree?
15.
Oh, wait.
41.6.
How'd you get 41.6?
I have to say it loud so I remind myself something. Or else
Yep.
it'll just be a
If this was 15, this 26.6 would have originally been going up here, right?
I guess.
Tall tree.
I feel like.
Is that not how all trees
I
look?
feel like Charlie Brown's tree was thicker than that.
That kind of looks like a Bob Ross tree.
It's a Bob Ross
It's a
tree.
pretty normal tree.
I know.
So it's approximately 41.6 feet tall originally.
If I see a tree like that,
Bro, I don't know.
I'm gonna start running.
cool.
It's cold? You should sit in a corner.
Because it's 90 degrees.
Oh.
Well, it depends on what
I
kind
got
of
the
corner.
whole squad laughing.
If it really can't touch the wall, it's 180 degrees.
I want to go to
Oh.
Oh, I.
When are we done?
Having an ice pack.
No, for my cat.
Oh. Okay. Question on example 3. Example 4.
That makes no sense.
I feel like it just
Less.
Come on.
No, it's.
They always be singing. I might. I'm about to be done.
Just be like, I want JV. Like that.
So there is no
Bob,
JV.
There is a JV because I'm strictly on JV.
Why?
Because I'm
So
in
is
club
baseball,
sports,
don't worry.
and he's like, you can't prioritize club over soccer.
Alright.
and stuff.
Converse of the Pythagorean theorem. We can use this to check. We can use this to check if the figure is a right triangle or what kind of triangle it is. So, if 3 sides of a triangle satisfy a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then it's a right triangle. So, tell whether this triangle is a right triangle. 11, 20, and 23. So what we would do is to figure out if it's a right triangle, is we plug these into the Pythagorean theorem and see if it's true. Now, where would I put 23 in the Pythagorean theorem? C. Why would I have to put it in the C spot?
It's the hypotenuse.
Okay, it's the hypotenuse. How would you know it would be the supposed hypotenuse if this is the right
It's the
triangle?
longest side.
It's the longest side. Okay? So even if you were just given the side lengths just written, 11, 20, and 23, 23 is the longest, so it would have to be our hypotenuse here. So as we set it up, we say 11 squared plus 20 squared equals 23 squared. We're asking ourselves that question. We're saying, hey, does this equal? This is still the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This time we're plugging in 3 sides and seeing if it's true. If it's true for this, it's a right triangle. If it's not true for this, it's not. Nope, no, walk. There we go. There we go. There we go. And let's not walk over the desk this time.
Why?
Because we're not supposed to stand on the chairs.
What?
They're not supposed to stand on the chairs.
Will.
What?
What do you do
Well,
on
then
there?
you're not
The whole
sitting a
week
very
from-
Yeah,
Oh,
The other day you stood on that.
no, I didn't.
So yes, you did. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
You stand on top of that thing all the
I don't want
time.
to hear it.
That's exactly what you do.
Yeah, Gracie, I have proof. I have receipts. So come back here. I have receipts.
What if you go home?
Of you standing on there. I have receipts.
Yes.
If I stood up on the desk with
I don't know
my
what you're talking about. That doesn't sound like fun.
Sounds like you're fibbing me. Mine's the same.
What's 11 squared?
121.
Oh, it's definitely.
What's 20 squared?
That's 400.
400.
Really? I took a wild guess on that.
What would you do if I did it? You would do it. Good job. Thank you. You did that.
Yeah, you're being a hypocrite a little bit, but
We
it's
need
fine.
to send you the office to
No. Hypocrite? Question
Miss
mark?
Hardy would probably laugh at me though.
Okay.
Okay. 23 squared.
529.
That's what she did.
529.
29. Sure.
Yeah.
What's 121 plus 400?
521.
Does 521 equal 529? No, it's less than it. So is this a right triangle?
No.
No, it's not a right triangle.
Is that what we're trying to figure out the whole? Oh yeah.
Tell whether it's a yeah. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay. Okay. I don't really.
So they have to equal each other in order for it to be right.
Yeah, because the Pythagorean theorem is true for any right triangle,
Honestly,
so we can try it out, and it's not a right triangle because the Pythagorean theorem wasn't true.
every time I come in here, I have a small panic attack.
Okay. I don't.
I used to be that way.
That's me when I
And then as
enter
soon as
school.
I
soon as I'm in class, it's fine, but like as soon as I come in here, I'm like, oh, suck.
Okay. Now, additionally, we can actually figure out what type of triangle this is, whether it's acute or obtuse now. If our c squared is smaller than a squared plus b squared, then it's acute. If our c squared is bigger, it's obtuse. Now, acute triangle means all the angles are acute, or all less than 90. Obtuse means that there's one bigger than 90. And so this one is, our c squared ended up being bigger, right?
Oh, okay, so then that one's obtuse.
So this one's obtuse. So no, this is actually obtuse.
No.
No, it's actually obtuse, okay? Because c squared ended up being bigger. Now here's how we can remember this, okay? C squared is bigger. Obtuse is bigger or smaller than acute? Bigger. The obtuse angle is a bigger angle than acute, okay? An obtuse angle is a bigger angle than an acute angle. So if our c squared got bigger, if they're equal, it's right, but our c squared got bigger, so the opposite side is bigger. Oh, hi, Mrs. Hassel. Okay. If our c squared gets smaller, then our opposite angle got smaller. You guys remember that flashlight thing we did?
Yeah.
The flashlight thing we did where we set the opposite angle compared to the opposite side. The bigger the opposite angle, the bigger the opposite side.
Upset.
No, she was there outside. She was walking on some valley.
Oh, yeah, she picked Mr. Malley over me. That's depressing.
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly how she viewed it.
Why is there a
No.
how would you know?
Okay. So,
You can only
Dude, you
tell
didn't
from
even
the
know.
symbol. I thought you could only tell from the symbol.
You just totally avoids it.
No, I feel like
Now
the way
that
the
is the
angle, the thing is facing. See,
I don't know if I like
I feel
But
like
here-
that's how I usually. I feel like usually I have my numbers split too. So then it would make it like
no.
Whose husband? I went straight towards like the symbol,
Mm.
and you're like, no, it's obtuse.
okay, because
Yeah, it's
this is
because the
because
C
c squared is on
squared.
this side.
See, 23 squared. That's the.
And she's rich.
I would put the 23. Exactly, that's what I'm doing.
Voice back off, please. Voice back off. Let me explain this one more time. I don't think anyone will pay attention. Wyatt, sit back in your seat. Okay, everybody sit forward.
I'm paying attention.
Okay, thank you, paying attention. So, if c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, it's a right triangle. Now, if c squared got bigger, that means the opposite angle had to get bigger. Because the c squared got bigger, that means c got bigger. Because the bigger a number, the bigger the square of it. So if c got bigger, then the angle opposite got bigger than 90, so it's obtuse. If c squared got smaller, so it's smaller than a squared plus b squared, then c got smaller, because the smaller number, the smaller square. So the opposite angle got smaller than 90, so it's acute. Let's practice a couple more examples, we'll go on to homework.
Does your leg ever just like glitch? Then I'm gonna go on the.
Not today.
Okay, thank God.
We have 45
Okay.
minutes left.
In segments with lengths of 11.2 inches, 6.5 inches, and 7.1 inches form a triangle. Hey, look, this is from last chapter. How do we do this? How do we figure out if it forms a triangle in the first place?
Add the two lowest ones.
Add the two lowest ones compared to the biggest ones. What two are we adding?
5 and 7.1.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, them on the.
Wrong guys.
Not right.
It's on the 9.
So 6.5 and 7.1 equals what? 13.6. What is 13.6 compared to 11.2? It's bigger, so does this make a triangle?
Yes.
Yes. Do you guys remember that ruler thing we did on the floor?
No.
Okay, the sum of the smaller two sides has to be bigger than our third side. Why put it away? Thank you. Okay. So I think you're out of the room for that day. So first of all, can this make a triangle? Our answer to that is yes. Then it says, if so, what type? We're trying to figure out if it makes a right triangle, an acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle. So how can we figure out what kind of triangle this makes? What we just learned. Yes, Marissa.
Wouldn't you take into that 6.5, or you did 6.5 plus 7.1, that equals 6 square, right?
So we have close. So we have to do 6.5 squared plus 7.1 squared equals 11.2 squared. We put it into our Pythagorean theorem, but we have the question mark because we're seeing if it is equal. We're trying to see
You
what is our comparison.
square 11,
Yeah, we square all of 11.2.
So then would you take 11.2, see whatever that equals, and then if it's bigger than 13.6, it is obtuse?
No, because we have to do these squared. So 6.5 squared plus 7.1 squared is going to be different than normal 6.5 and normal 7.1. Okay? So what is 6.5 squared? Someone type that in your calculator and tell me what 6.5 squared is.
Oh, I know the answer, Mr. Kosh.
I think that was bad for me. Maybe.
Yeah.
That was obnoxious. Yeah, it's 42.25.
That one was obnoxious.
Okay. Let's dial it in, guys. 7.1 squared is what? Jillian, what's 7.1 squared?
What?
What's 7.1 squared?
I don't know.
Get your calculator out and figure it out.
My phone's over there.
Okay, get a calculator out and figure it out.
That's far.
Okay, get a calculator out and figure it out.
There you go.
No, it's okay.
Hey, you problem solved.
Oh, I almost ripped that cord.
Never bad.
I gotta let me check my snap first.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
50.49.
7.1 times 2.
Nope.
7.1 times 7.1.
There you go.
I got it.
And it is
50.41.
50.41 equals, okay, what's 11.2 squared, Taylor?
129.96.
Let's try that one again.
11.2. Okay,
Why you never understand
125.44.
That sounds better. 125.44.
Is somebody, how do I know the teacher that's talking to
You have no enforcement over me.
And
You have no
enforcement
rule
and no
over me.
enforcement.
You have no rule over me, so just shut up and do what you're supposed to do.
Guys,
Calm down, no.
what's really going on?
I'm sitting over here minding my own business.
No, don't even start. He was making like this.
I'm sitting here making a noise.
She's
Stop.
afraid of
Alright.
listening.
Stop making a noise.
Oh my god.
Okay, you told me to, so now I will.
Oh, but it
Okay.
does.
But when they don't,
You
This
shouldn't have.
is
Like,
why
I
I
don't
don't
know
do
anything. Like, I want to
attention.
Oh my god, and you always try to get confronted. No, I know.
And that's facts. And that's all period.
Grace, your friend is here.
Please don't. Why do it to me is
It's like a perfect.
So let's, what's
time.
42.25 plus 50.41?
Probably. Oh wait. 92.66.
Very good. Now, what is that compared to 125.44?
What?
Is that bigger, smaller, or equal?
Smaller.
Smaller. So our c squared is bigger. So is this acute, right, or obtuse? It's obtuse. If our c squared is bigger, okay, then it's obtuse. So yes, this does make a triangle, and it makes an obtuse triangle. Yes, it does make a triangle, like from last chapter, but it makes an obtuse triangle because when we put it in the Pythagorean theorem, the c squared actually ended up being bigger, not equal. On example 6 here, in segments with lengths 10, 2 squared to 41, and 8 form a triangle. If so, what type? How did we figure out if it forms a triangle or not?
You just said
Smaller ones.
Add the two small ones and compare it to the biggest one. Now wait, 10, 2 squared to 41, and 8. Do we know which one's the biggest side?
Yes.
Can we really compare 2 squared to 41 to 8 and 10? Does anyone know which one's actually biggest there? Okay, probably not. How can we compare it? How can we make this a number we can compare? Wyatt, you know how we can make a number we can compare?
Simplify.
Okay, let's actually just type in our calculator. It says 2 squared to 41 can't be simplified anymore because 41's prime. So if type in 2 squared to 41 in your calculator, Marissa, what is 2 squared to 41 in your calculator? What was that?
Hmm?
Calculator doesn't do that?
No, it does.
Okay.
12.8.
Okay, 12.8, approximately 12.8.
Yeah.
And you did 2 times square root of 40, that sounds accurate. Okay, so which one of these is actually the biggest? 12.8. So which two would we add together to compare?
10 and 8.
10 and 8. So let's add 8 plus 10 or 10 and 8. We don't really care about the order. And compare this to our biggest one. So this is 18. What's 18 compared to 12.8? Bigger. It's bigger, so does this make a triangle?
No.
Yeah, if the two smallest ones end up being bigger, this is just equal to 18, but my pen won't work. So yes, it does make a triangle. We still have to figure out what type now. So how do we figure out what type?
10 squared.
Okay, you do
Plus.
10. Yep. Go ahead.
8 squared.
Yep.
Equals 12.8.
Okay, and this is actually where we get our slight difference. Okay, so our common thing is say, let's use 12.8. But we got 12.8 by rounding, right? If we round, is it exactly the same thing as it originally was? No. So we want to actually go back to the original and do 2 squared of 41. And put that in parentheses and square it. So you guys remember how in the warm-up today, we had something like this being squared? That's why we did that in the warm-up today, because it came up today in our notes. Okay, great. Okay? So now we actually say, okay, does this equal? We're trying to figure out what kind of triangle it is. So we've used the Pythagorean theorem, all 6 examples in some way. What is 10 squared, Christine? Gucci. What is 8 squared, Mackenzie? No. 100 plus 64 equals 2 times square root of 41 squared is 2 times square root of 41 times 2 times the square root of 41, right?
So 12.
How would you multiply 2 times square root of 41 and 2 times square root of 41? Simplify it. Well, we can't. We can actually just multiply the numbers outside and the numbers inside. So what's 2 times 2? Square root of 41 and square root of 41. Okay. It ends up being the square root of 1681, of 1681, or it ends up being regular what? 41. It ends up being regular 41. If you multiply 2 with the same square root, you get the normal number. Multiply 2 with the same square root, you get the normal number. We talked about that the other day in our the first part of this notes.
Is that a 4
Yeah, it's.
and what is
Let me fix that.
like a point? Is it 4.41?
4 times 41.
Well, yeah, but
So now, what's 100 plus 64? What's 4 times 41? So what kind of triangle is this?
right.
A right triangle, because it does actually satisfy our Pythagorean theorem. So yes, and furthermore, it's a right triangle. Now, if we had done what was suggested a moment ago of using that 12.8 here, what would have happened is had we set up 10 squared plus 8 squared equals 12.8 squared. Is we get 100 plus 64 still?
You guys are talking and you guys just
What is 12.8 times 12.8? What is, guys?
Well, you're distracting people around.
Hey guys.
Well, everybody else is also
Hey, let's drop it right now this instant.
Yeah.
Guys, drop it this instant. I want to hear another word out of it. Face forward. I don't want to hear another word out of it. I don't want to hear another word out. You're the one that said the last word. Don't. Thank you. What is 12.8 times 12.8, Gail? Okay, type it in your calculator.
12 times 8.
12.8 times 12.8. 12.8 squared. Okay, 163.8. Is that what you said? 84, thank you. So 164, what does that compare to 163.84? Is that bigger, smaller, or equal? Bigger. So this actually, if we would have done it this way, we would think what kind of triangle? And we think it's actually acute because our C ends up being smaller. Our C squared ends up being smaller, so we would think this one's acute, but it actually was right. So see how that small little difference of rounding actually ends up changing it from being a right triangle to an acute triangle. So that's why we go through and we use the exact number without the rounding. Because if we use the rounding in our answer, we can get slightly more off. And it's only 0.16 off, but it changes our answer.
Why didn't we just do that to start? Why did we round?
So the reason we rounded to start was because that's how we knew which side was the biggest. Because otherwise we didn't know what to place where. Great question. Okay. Any other question on that? Okay. I'm gonna holster that, and we're gonna get to our homework here.
30 minutes?
I should talk about it, we can call out at 12.
Okay, we'll find out.
Not Tania?
I think that's up.
¿Dónde está la Tania?
Get some medicine for this.
So let's don't do that.
I don't want it coming through.
We would do that all basketball.
Huh? What?
But honestly though,
The last?
no, I'm asking Mr. Console.
Okay.
I'm not asking. Well, you
So,
were
real
looking at
talk,
my
what's happening right now is we're going to work on this individually. No, we're working on this individually. No talking. If you guys work well for the first 20 minutes, you can work in group and partners for the last 10. Okay? And you guys can listen to music if you would like. You can listen to music if you would like. So if you work well individually for the first 20, you can work in partners for the last 10. Okay? And you guys can listen to music while we do this. So we shouldn't hear talking unless you're asking myself and Mrs. Hasbro for help.
Does not make sense.